I'll just start off with work-life balance so that we can get through some talks. Chale. Chale. So, welcome back to the second part of the leadership program. So, we've got one new participant, Dr. Saima. She's from Karachi. So, sorry, I took you back. So, she's a good friend of Dr. Lubna, and she's doing a lot of RFP in Karachi. So, I'll just give her a brief introduction. So, the topic. Right. चले टॉक आ गई अब ऊपर ले So Dr. Khakan, he's a general secretary. नहीं ये वाली नहीं दूसरी वाली Dr. Khakan वाली. So he's busy somewhere because there's no moderator in one session. So I'll start off with his talk. We're just going to postpone Dr. Carl's talk. So we want everyone to listen to that. So work-life balance is something which everybody goes through in a busy life, and the main thing is how do you balance that, and if you don't balance it, what will happen in your life in the future. I think there's a word which is called burnout. So if you do not maintain your work life balance, you might burn yourself out before your optimum or when your best opportunity comes. It's still waiting for you, but you're just falling right before the finish line. So that is a work life balance, and that usually we have a grid for that thing. We'll discuss things about that. So let's go forward. So it's a state of equilibrium where a person equally prioritizes the demands of one careers. And here, what has happened with the coming of the digital age? Your personal life, your your whole 24 hours have become your office because of the internet. Everybody wants, have you seen your email? I sent you this message. And after that, even further, WhatsApp has sort of ruined your life further. Because previously, until you got a letter, you wouldn't do anything. You said, I haven't received a mail, there's nothing coming in. And sometimes, if you didn't want to receive somebody's mail, you would tell the person and tell them that I'm not here. Just take this. This is especially thing which some court orders people sometimes they don't want to receive. They would say this is something, but now with the digital age you cannot do that, and that is something which comes back to you. So if you break a glass circle, it won't be the same again. So your work, your spirit, your family, your friends, and your health. So how do we work out from that thing? So if you the best thing is if you schedule your week, your month, your year according to different activities. That is one way to start off with, but you have to identify the 4 or 5 things where you are going to put the balance in. So these circles tell you that the five different sort of domains in which you need to work at the same time to keep yourself sane as well. Sometimes if you are doing too much work, you get disconnected. So you can see people who are computer programmers, people who are radiologists, so they get more disconnected from the world because they do not have a social life. I say that I am doing too much work in the morning, in the evening, probably my social life becomes my patients. Usually your patients come in, you chat with them and you ask them, and they ask you. That becomes your social part of your social. They become part of your social friends as well. So that is one thing which you need to identify, and you can talk with your patients, and you'll feel good and elevated when you're doing that. But I think the part which is most important is your family. If you do not address that, they will address that pretty firmly. You need to understand that sometimes don't take the things too far enough that there's a point of no return. So that is something which is very important, because they are obviously engaged with you and your work is important to you, but for them you are more important than your work. So that is the thing which needs to be understood. And your friends, before you're married, probably your friends are your biggest circle. But then when your work life changes and your family is there, it tends to move to the other side. You give more time to your family than to your friends, and that sometimes you need to do a SWOT analysis on that thing, which one is the priority, because if you go the other way, that can have sort of long lasting consequences. And obviously, your health is more important. There was somebody who's commenting, what are the effects? Dr. Shabana, she's gone. What are the effects of health when you become a leader? Carl, you know.
All of those responsibilities sometimes make you neglect your health because you feel I've got to do this and I've got to do that. So my health takes maybe a second seat. Is that what your point was?
Yeah. What do you think what do you think? What do you see? You're the chairman of your department in Cairo. You've got a busy private practice. Has it had any effect on your health?
Yeah, yes, but I am trying to be more attentive to it, because you are like stolen automatically the time you are exercising or recreating, or you are just busy doing things that you are not used to do. So it takes from your concern about health. But I have to be more aware of it now. Before it
Right.
was like a habit, you're doing things, but now you have to check every day that you don't miss things you need for your health.
So thank you. So I think these are the important things, but the real health issues which you can get as a leader, as a medical conditions, because whenever you're in a leadership position, the one thing which is much more in your body than anything else is adrenaline. Some people don't need to drink coffee or tea because they run on their own adrenaline. Type 1A personalities have so much adrenaline that keeps them awake, that keeps them. I know a person who just sleeps 4 hours a night at night time, but obviously he's still working. But what effect that person sleep 4 hours, but he's got a packet of 10 medicines in front of him as well. So the things which are probably most important is hypertension, diabetes, because your adrenaline is going to ruin those two things. Your heart is going to be pumping in that thing. So you need to identify and sort of screen for those diseases as well if you're in that circle. And you need to identify, especially when you're too overwhelmed with things. Sometimes people come in when you're sitting on a principal seat, one person coming second, third, fourth, and they're all demanding something which you cannot do. So your level keeps rising. You don't know what is happening. You say, I'm very confident. Nothing happens to me. I'm very cool. But if you check your blood pressure or pulse, it might not be saying the same thing. If you're doing a very difficult cataract surgery, you might not be sweating and you say, oh, I'm calm. But put a pulse oximeter at one time and see what's happening. So you might be surprised. So if you go next, so causes of imbalance are societal expectations, like you are the president of this society, I am in a social expectations are much more that I need to talk with this person, I need to answer to this thing, I need to do that. So they are societal expectation, but there is a limit to what you can do. I think there's a very good word which I learned when I was in Cincinnati. I think Dwight Cullen was this person. He said, perfect is the enemy of good. He said, just leave it there. No, normally, if you're finishing your cataract surgery, I said, this iris doesn't look good. I should go and just put that iris repositor or a dialer. And it's sometimes the iris comes out and end up doing an iridectomy for that patient. So just leave it. Yes, Carl? Yes, Carl? Yes. 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 So I tell my residents every day that thing, because they're always saying this is not good. I said this looks good, so just leave it at that. So extreme of ambitions, perfectionism, that is something which tends to make you go haywire from your work-life balance, because you're doing the thing again and again and again and trying to get things done. Denied depression, long working hours, and global economic instability. Not denying depression, yes. If you don't deny it, people will know that you are in that thing. So you need to be self-aware that you're going into that phase. But like as Professor Hamid said earlier, your non-verbal clues, your what your body motions or actions are, those are very important of identifying what is happening inside you. You don't think that they don't know, but people will know that he's too occupied today. He's like our principal, he comes in, you know everything. Today he's in a good mood, today he's not in a bad mood. So you might think, I'm just normal. Why does he think that way? So that is one thing. But those are things which you need to work. Working more than 54 hours a week, you're putting at your risk your health, family, friend, and productivity. In the European, sir,
board of management was a very seasoned bureaucrat, and he used to say, if I don't get 8 hours sleep, I cannot think clearly.
yeah. So that is, going to sleep is very important. You tend to probably 7 to 8 hours is the maximum which you do. So why do we need to maintain mental health, increase productivity? It helps you become a more rounded person. You get one life, so you must enjoy it as well. So does a vacation come into your work-life balance? Does everybody nahi? Yeah, aap keh rahi, no? No vacation? Why? Very good. Excellent point. Yes. So if you are a mother, yes, your vacation is postponed till your children become older. Yes. But you can still have, if you do a vacation with them, then probably they're happy and you're happy too. You'll be still serving them. I have a friend who said, I'm traveling alone, I'm on vacation. Same. So there's so many things which I think everybody agrees on, but I think this is vacation. What does vacation do? Gives you a break from what your daily routines are, and you tend to relax more during that time. You give your brain rest, and probably, I think that is the time in vacation, or that time you become more creative. When you have more time to think, you become more creative, and that, when you are leading an organization, creativity is one thing which you need, which is very essential. Because if you have 10 phone calls coming all the time, which are just firefighting means that, sir, wo emergency mein doctor nahi hai, sir, this thing is not available, the patient is mad. These are just firefighting. You're not doing anything. You're just saying, do this, do that, which should have been done by themselves. So benefits of work-life balance: increase productivity. You get more time to think. You think on which things are urgent and which are not urgent, but which are important. So better teamwork, improve morale, more quality of life, reduce stress, and better achievement of goal and targets. Does everybody agree with this, or is it possible? आपका क्वेश्चन था, is it possible work life balance? आप क्या कहती है? With being a mother and a resident, is it possible? Two days. So that is one thing. ठीक है. Vacation. So if you're working as a head of the department and you've got a team of members, and how can you do, like, you think if you're going to go away and the system is going to do manage that? Carl can probably answer. Yes, delegate. Yeah. Empower, delegate, but for before delegation, which is more important, as that you should choose the right person for the right job. If you come back and things are upside down, you'll start getting calls whenever you are in vacation, because internationally now you're connected all the time. So balancing strategies, balance. So which thing I need to focus? That's your first priority. I think those are the things which I said you need to identify, and then same goes in second for third. Track your time. Time is important. Sometime you're sitting there. Everybody do. I think the biggest time waster is the internet, because you tend to do and you tend to digress. Procrastination is something which has become so more common, that you think everybody's got an attention deficit syndrome now. because your attention is diverted too many things. If you're good at multitasking, probably you're okay. But if you're not good at multitasking, then obviously that gives you a problem. So,
bad. You can only focus on one task at a
so
time.
how many people agree with that?
What do you say?
Multitasking is good or bad? Multitasking, Carl, what do you think? Most important thing. Yeah. Multitasking is, you must be multitasking. You're the head of the, I think it's stressing, yes.
Variable from person to person. Some people are good with multitasking.
Multitasking.
And some cannot handle.
Right.
You feel that you're not doing 100% justice to either.
Yes.
So sometimes, when you're ignoring home and you're trying to like for example, this conference or these presentations or academic or something apart from work, you were trying to give 100%, but then at that time you think you're a bad mother. And then, and then when you ignore these things and you're over there, then, sometimes you feel like you're not a good doctor. So I think you do multitasking at some level, but I think you can't do 100% justice to either. You can't like.
Ji.
I think this is something. I think this is just like we know about computers. They have got RAMs, they have got ROMs, they have got motherboards, processor. So human mind is exactly like that. So multitasking is something which probably is inborn. I mean, everybody is not capable of doing it.
There is a proverb that if you are chasing two hares at a time, you should be sure to catch neither.
Yes. So multitasking is an issue.
Multitasking is, of course, the way I look at it, you have multiple tasks, you prioritize them, but you can only focus on one at a time.
But sometime as you grow, as you've been on...
You're saying old. You self-censored it.
So sometimes your job requirement needs multitasking. So that is delegation in one way. The other way is my aim of doing multitasking is if you don't do it, a person worse than you will do it. So the society will lose. So if you can do it, then you can do it.
I agree. I think the most important thing of our age is that computers and all this is a time-killing machine. And one of the problems with the current training programs and residents is they are scrolling too much information, and knowledge construction and concept construction and reading a book line by line is something which needs to be looked into. So there's so much information but little knowledge.
So, yes. So this is, I think, the presenter, Dr. Khaqan, he found out that these people have got very famous people have a good work-life balance. Who does it? Does everybody agree? The CEO of Facebook? Nosediving. Surely, I don't even know some of them, so I don't know. Carl, does Hillary have a good work-life balance? Yeah. So these are perception of different people for that thing. So balance is a beauty. So this is work-life balance which you need. So next talk, I have a talk which, Carl, I'll let you wait for. Do you want to come first? And probably you can come first. Yeah. Better, yeah. So I'll ask Dr. Carl Golding to come on communicating with a confidence. That is.
All right. Well, thanks. I'll try to do that. I've got a little laryngitis, so bear with my voice. My work-life balance story is that I travel a lot, and we're empty nesters, so our kids are out of the house. But when I travel more than every 2 weeks, my wife says, "Why are you traveling so much?" But if I'm home for 2 weeks, she says, "When's your next trip?" So it's my work-life balance. So communicating with confidence, that's the topic. And this is one of the topics that was alluded to that I've not given this talk before. I gave a talk yesterday on teaching communication skills. So there'll be a little overlap with this. And my objectives are, I think, to communicate with confidence, you need to know what are communication skills. And then hopefully I can describe tips to give you to communicate with confidence yourselves. So I want you to picture someone first you think is a confident communicator. You probably all know people that you've worked with, could be in medicine, could be a professor. Picture them. And once you've pictured the person that you feel communicates with confidence, I think we've seen some people during this leadership program. Why? What is it about that person, about their communication abilities that makes them seem confident? What is it? And I'm not going to ask you that now because I don't think we have enough time. But the question is, why is that picture of that person in your head right now is that confident communicator? So there are a variety of communication skills, and it's important to know these. Of course, there's verbal communication, which is maybe the most common, maybe not. Maybe nonverbal communication is more common. And this is very important. Just things like eye contact. That is, I think, a sign of confidence. And when people never look at you, you wonder, are they not confident? So trying to make eye contact can be difficult for some people, but I think that's a very important part of confidence. And then listening. Listening is a very important communication skill. So you need to know these principles. And this is what's called the 7 C's of communication. And if you follow these, you'll probably be a good communicator, which I think will then make you a confident communicator. So you need to be clear. Make sure there is no misunderstanding. And that can sometimes be difficult, especially if you're on the international stage when there are language barriers. Sometimes I've thought in the past that was very clear. And then I talked to the person a little bit more and I realized they had no idea what I just said. But they don't want to admit that because they speak some English. And so you have to make sure that you clarify, I think, that they have understood. So make sure that it's, make sure that it's clear. Be concise, succinct. You don't need to talk a lot about a topic. Give extraneous information, get to the point. Be concrete, which means be specific and definite. Make sure they understand exactly what you're saying. Hopefully, be sure you're correct. Well, I think one of the things about being confident is if you think of yourself as the expert. So when I have residents give talks, grand round talks, I said, you be the expert. Do the literature search. Read up on the topic. You will probably know more than most of the consultants in the room about this topic because it's your own little topic. So be the expert. Be coherent, logical, and consistent. Complete. Make sure that all the facts are conveyed that need to be conveyed, and courteous. So you want to respect the whoever's you're communicating with, and that I think will also help confidence. And then the most important communication skill I already mentioned is listening. That's how we develop relationships, how we understand others, and how trust is built amongst the people that you're communicating with. So those are the skills. What about becoming confident? Well, follow those 7 C's. You need to know what makes good communication. And if you know that and you follow those C's, then that will increase your confidence. Be the expert. I already mentioned that. It clearly helps to be the expert. I know when I gave my very first talk at a national type of a meeting, it was at the North American Neuro-Ophthalmology Society, and I was a 2nd-year resident. And everybody in that audience, I thought, knew more than I did about what I was talking about. And it was I had very little confidence. And so I think that you really got to know the topic. Make sure you're the expert. And we talked about failures earlier in the session, in the first session on leadership. And I was thinking of failures. And when I had a thesis when I was at university to defend, and I thought I knew everything they were going to ask, and I didn't. And I failed miserably in my thesis defense, I felt. And I will never forget that. I was probably 20 years old. And that has made me a much better presenter and able to feel confident about talking in public now. Because of that failure, I learned a lot. Try to get feedback from friends, depending on what the communication is. If it's a lecture, if you're giving a talk, and if you have a friend in the audience, ask them, okay, critique this talk and give me feedback about this. And the more feedback you get about your speaking and your communication, the better and more confident you'll feel going forward. Self-assessment, whenever I communicate like this sort of thing, I think back, how did that go? What went well? What maybe didn't go well? So I think self-assessment's good, but probably feedback from others is maybe more important. But I always self-assess what could have been better. And videotaping yourself, if it's a lecture kind of a thing, videotape yourself during your lecture and then look back at it. You'll be very surprised at some of the things that you're doing. So all of these things, if you practice, all of these things will help you become more confident. Have a role model. So I personally have a role model for communicating in lectures. He's younger than I am. He's a former student of mine, and I think he is a gifted speaker. And there are a lot of things that I've learned watching him speak that have made me a more confident communicator. Be enthusiastic and smile. I think that makes you confident. People like it when you smile. They want to think that that you are interested in what you're saying. Practice. When I was younger, in high school, teenager, if you had told me that in my career I was going to be spending a lot of time talking in front of audiences and communicating, I would have said, that is the last thing in the world I want to do. I don't like talking in front of audiences. I am not good at it. And I was mortified. And I tell you, for at least the first 5 years of my career, I practiced every talk over and over and over before the actual talk so that I could feel more confident that I would give a good talk. And now can't tell you, I think my CV says I've given more than 1,000 invited talks. And now I feel very comfortable, but it took a while. So don't worry if you're not feeling confident as a younger person. The more talks you give, the more confident you will get. But at the same time, get feedback from people. Get feedback as to what you could do to improve. And then the eye contact, I mentioned that already. So in summary, a confident communicator, you need to have good communication skills. You need to believe that you are a good communicator. I think that's where the confidence comes from. So be the expert, get feedback, be enthusiastic, positive, and smile, and practice. Thank you for your attention.
So thank you very much, Carl, for a very enlightening talk on confidence in communication. My talk, I think, got stuck. It is giving error on a PowerPoint, so I'm just going to read it off my phone and we'll discuss. So what are the 6 principles of influence? How can you, if you are a leader, or even if you're not a leader, a child can influence their parents as well. So that is how you learn how to influence people. And people who have a more capacity, if you know what are the principles, probably you can learn them and you can use them to your advantage. Number 1 is reciprocity. Reciprocity means, you reciprocate. If somebody has done that, you will do the same thing for them. So for reciprocity, what do you think is a most important thing which you can do to reciprocate? In our culture, is pretty common. So you can get a gift to somebody. So you gift to somebody, he'll reciprocate by giving a gift back, or he'll probably go doing a favor for you if you ask him. So that is one way of doing reciprocity. But sometime if you take to a higher level, sometime reciprocity, you can buy people out of that. That might be correct sometime. International organization, international or national organization, they can buy people by just giving them perks for something, and the other person is just obliged to reciprocate. So that is reciprocity, which is used very important. So that is like, if you scratch my back, I will scratch your back. Regardless of your business, there's a possibility that you can always give something away. So as a doctor, what can you do for your patients? In ophthalmology, probably people do something to get. If you do a special exam, if you give a free exam to somebody, if you sort of give a discount to somebody, that patient will be nice to you. Sometime if you don't sort of whenever you sort of looking at your faculty or your students, you're nice to them, probably they'll build your practice more, they'll give you more referrals. So reciprocation does not have to be in the form that he's going to do some wrong favor you. You can use it to your advantage, and you can use the thing to your advantage as well. So probably free iCamp is not a reciprocity in that sense. That is something you are giving away to the people for charity. So that probably you do not. So whenever you're giving for charity, you don't expect that person to reciprocate in that area. So the other is commitment and consistency. So if you want to be an influencer, that you know that I'm going to influence, how do that work? That if I commit to you that I'm going to do that thing, and if I do not do that thing, I'm probably will have no influence on that person. So you build your history that you are going to be a good influencer by whatever you do, whatever you say, you are going to follow that, and not there's a term in politics which is called a U-turn. So if you make a U-turn on what you say, slowly people move away from you. So consistency is one way you can make yourself influence more. So the next thing is social proof. With social media, even when there was no social media, what social proof can you give? People will buy something or do what other people will buy. So when you see a big ad, and probably you see a big cricketer's name, he's over there and he said, I am buying this. So that gives them people a social proof that he is buying this. So this thing should be good, and I should buy it as well. People try to follow social proof as well. Now, social media, if you have Facebook, that is exactly what that is doing. People build their reputations even on showing the social proof. What is social proof? People can put up reviews on, even if you go to restaurants, doctors, businesses, that this was a good place to visit. They're very polite and they were very hospitable, and all the things were resolved. So that is showing you or giving you social proof that you can improve your visibility with people by giving them social proof. So if you run a website, if you run in a clinic, you can have certificates from people that this is a social proof that I'm a good person. So that, and people follow that. So we've done reciprocity, commitment, and social proof. And the next thing which we come is authority. So authority, how do you become authority? So Carl is an authority on neuro-ophthalmology. How did he become neuro-ophthalmology? He told himself. He has made over 1,000 presentations. He's got probably more than 200 papers in international journals. So when you become an authority, if you say something, people will not challenge you. So that is, so how, if somebody who's junior and he says he wants to become an authority, so what is one way? How will you make yourself become authority over time? Skills and knowledge, very good. So you improve yourself or practice. But how will you people know? Aap practice karenge, that is for yourself. Publishing your articles, so that is one way. Internationally, whenever you become a reviewer, they look at what you have published in a peer review journal, and out of that, they send you a line that you've been selected because you've published similar research. So that gives them that you are an authority on this subject. Any other way? Punctuality, any other? If you present your talks, you come over and you show yourself. Initially, people will think might be you're a joke. They might not believe what he's saying, or they might not be. He said he's too junior. Whatever he's saying, might be you're saying which even they don't know what they're not doing. But if you keep doing it over time and you give justification for what you do, you become authority. So if you think you want to become an authority, you work on those lines and you change yourself into an authority. But obviously for that, you have to make commitment and you have to engage with people, and obviously sort of make time. So whenever you show a picture of a world authority, obviously people will immediately start listening. Liking. So that is another way to influence people. Carl just mentioned, you're smiling. People like you. So why will people like you? So very good. So this is your personality. So whenever you people sort of work with you, and if you do good things with them, people will start liking you. So when you go into a leadership position, suppose you are the head of the department, or suppose even if you are an examiner for a board of examiner, you go to the College of Physician and Surgeons. I might be very good academically, but can I change my liking when I go over there or not? Good assessor. If you are a fair assessor, then your liking will be good. But if you are an unfair assessor, your liking is going to go down. So if you are going to influence the people, if you go, so I've been into politics now, I'm a president, so I know I've gone through the process. So you get very bitter feedback sometimes that you did this, so I'm not going to do that for you. So, and liking people like you, because if you are fair and impartial, then people have more liking for you. So this is one thing which you need to work on, because people will remember what you did, and probably you might forget, but they will remember. So you keep your liking hat on all the time, that you're good to people and you socialize with people. And then I think the last thing is scarcity. कोई चीज short हो जाए, dollar is short at the moment in Pakistan, you cannot get dollar, so that has become, what will that do with people? People want to buy more of that thing. ठीक है? So the best way to tell somebody that I'm a very good, so I am the only person who's doing this thing that is very scarce. That I'm the only person who's doing this, which no person is doing. So if you're doing DSAC or DMAC, which nobody else is doing, so there's a scarcity of that skill. So that makes you better in that thing. So scarcity is people. So when you go on to online bookings, when you go on to airline bookings, what do you see over there? When you buy a ticket, it shows you that. What does it show you? 1 ticket left, 2 ticket left. What does that make you do? Immediately buy. So they are producing, there might be 10 tickets there. I'm sure there are 10 tickets at that time. But they make you make an immediate decision, because they are playing with your mind and they are influencing you as well at that time. So whenever you make a shortage of thing, people think this is to, like if you are a good if you're a good practitioner, you're qualified and you've got a very good skills of seeing people, how can you make yourself scarce? You can reduce the number of patients you're seeing, that you can say that there are 100 the Dr. Saab has got 100 appointments booked, but he's too busy to see. He might be just having one appointment. People use that tactic, which is wrong. Sometimes you should not do unethical things which you do. So you're creating a scarcity of that thing, so that people tends to move them away from that thing. So that is scarcity. So those are the basic 6 principles which you use. These are used by Mr. Cialdini, which I think if you work on them, probably you're using them all of the time, but if you think about them, these will help you progress further. So any questions on this? So out of this, the next part that is, usually we have an LDP program and we ask people to come in and give talks, and there's some expert that we have, we want to check, or you can practice your communication skills. So I think we have got time. We've got 15 minutes. So what we can do is, if everybody volunteers, each of you can come on the stage and you can talk 2 minutes either about yourself, or what is your passion in life, or what do you see should be done. Probably these 2 things. What is your passion in life? And talk about that, and we can just see how you simulate your talks. I think the best way to do is, as Carl was saying, I think you don't have a time to practice at this moment, but there are things which you can spontaneously, so you can use, if you say we'll put a timer on, we say 2 minutes, you just time yourself to 2 minutes, come to the mic and hold the mic and see that your sound is coming properly out of the mic. If you're too low or short, adjust the mic, which is very important, because sometimes it looks very awkward that the mic is here and you're talking and nobody's getting the sound, then you need to look at the people that you're talking to and explain to them. Don't use too many hand gestures. That can sometimes become irritating with people. Stand upright. Some people just try to hold on to that. People don't like that. Probably use a comfortable position. Some people would have their feet up here. Probably you think nobody's seeing it. Everybody can see it, that your feet is up here. Some people would come in and stand like this, have a hand in their pocket. Probably does not give a very mature look of what you're doing. So those are the things which you are very important in communicating. So shall we start on that thing? Everybody's on for that, Latif sir. So you can give a 2 minute on OSP Saiba. Chalo, so you can start. Lubna se karate hai shuru. So I throw the ball on the other side.
I'm Dr. Lubna Siddiq, and I work as Senior Registrar in Lahore General Hospital, Amiruddin Medical College, Postgraduate Medical Institute. I have fellowship in ophthalmology and vitreoretina, and my passion is to practice more and more ROP and retinoblastoma, fight against the blindness caused by these diseases in young children.
Assalamu alaikum. I am Dr.
Doctor,
Lutfullah.
sorry, आप interrupt कर रहा हूँ. Dr. Lutfullah, it will be a good exercise that Professor Moin just introduced the concept of SWOT analysis, na? So just that Professor Moin just introduced the concept of SWOT analysis, na? So just replicating that, आप अपने आप को introduce करवाओगे तो थोड़ा सा अपना SWOT analysis, your strengths and your weaknesses portrayed as strengths to be made out of your weaknesses. तो आप उस पर भी बात कर सकते हैं कि आप क्या कर रहे हैं और आपकी स्ट्रेंथ्स क्या हैं.
Okay.
और फिर आप अपनी वीकनेसेस को ओवरकम कैसे करेंगे.
Okay, sir.
वीकनेसेस का जिक्र ना करें.
ठीक. Assalamu alaikum. Sir, I have graduated from Khyber Medical College. When I was in my final year, Dr. Ziaul Islam Sahab was he was my teacher there. And other doctors were my senior in my hostel. I know that Dr. Marwat Saab and Shafqat Saab, others. And similarly, Dr. Moin Saab was our examiner. So to exercise this thing. And similarly, Dr. Hamid Mahmood Saab was in my fellowship, he was my supervisor. Now I am working as district specialist in Gilgit, and we have done our CPSP workshop for supervisorship. And I need this thing more and more there. And Dr. Shoaib Shafi and others, they had come to the Gilgit, and they are now, inshallah, in future there will be a medical college. And I worked as assistant professor in Avicenna Medical College with Dr. Khalid Mahmood for 1.5 years after my fellowship. So we need all these things more and more. As we have weaknesses, so just for that I came on the dais to be in front of you, so that your teachings and your experience would help us in future, inshallah. Okay.
Sometimes when your workflow thoughts get disturbed, you tend to take a break. One way is to just slow down and give pauses between, and sometimes you forget names of stuff, so we can write them down. Probably this is not you talking spontaneously at that time. It's perfectly acceptable. Yeah, you should look like they are your best friend, and you know them from. That's what you say. Yeah. Very good.
Hello, I am Imran Khalid, orthoptist working at Services Hospital Lahore. I did my graduation in 2008, and after that I did my MPhil in orthoptics, and currently now I am enrolled as a MME graduates at University of Lahore. Today I joined this session because the this theme and the topic was very fascinating for me because the leadership, because I have to excel in my life as a teacher, and the one thing was said by Professor Harden, that the one role or 12 roles of a teacher, and the one is the role modeling. And as Professor Carl said, that the role model should you have, although he is younger to you, and have a more confident skills, and it will impact on the students. And the person, and the best one is the role model who is successive and attractive in your life, have so many achievements. And I found myself a good that as Professor Moin encouraged and interactive made the session, and I put my what I have learned, and he also appreciated. This is quite encouraging and boosted my confidence. So I will accelerate it in my life and will participate in further conferences to groom my skills and efficiencies to excel in my life. Thank you very much.
I'm very confident you are talking. Mike probably looks like he hasn't been on the mic a long time. हमें आदत हो गई है पीछे हमें लगता है कि we are over we are more important. But usually you can come close to the mic and see whenever you're doing more presentations, you get to feel that the mic से आवाज ठीक आती है तो okay आ रही है. But the classic thing which he was doing, and did anybody appreciate whenever he was thinking his eyes were going up or going down? That is something which, if your practice will not that happen. It's not something which is sort of wrong with you. It happens with everybody when they're starting off. But this is a classic thing which they teach, that whenever you're thinking, your eyes might go up or down. You just think and then speak. That's my goal. No, that's fine. Yes.
Don't forget to smile.
So initially, whenever you are giving a talk, you tend to be sort of nervous a bit, which is pretty normal because I think I smile a lot, but I tend to be the other way around in places. So you need to just come out with that. Just keep thinking, am I smiling enough? By doing webinars, I think I learn more about smiling all the time because
Even if you're really nervous, if you're smiling, no one else will think you're nervous.
I think one catchword would be you have to wear a smile.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I am Dr. Shafqat Ali Shah, working as Associate Professor Bacha Khan Medical College, Mardan. So my passion is that to convert Mardan Medical Complex I unit to a center of excellence. Previously, when Ziaul Islam Sahib was chief executive there, we had no problems over there. So we have no deficiency of equipments, manpower, or other things. But as the government changed for the last 7-8 years, we have very much difficulties in running our state of affairs. And for the last 2 years, due to COVID situation, our eye units has been converted into ICU, dengue ward, and some things like that. So now we are regaining our unit back, and recently OCT has been purchased for our unit. So inshallah, I hope that my passion will become true and it will become a center of excellence. Thanks.
So you're very good in explaining. So you're very good in explaining what you wanted, and you're very clear-headed about your expression. You were standing slightly behind on the mic, so you thought you're close, you're shy from the mic, so your sound probably was sounding okay to you, but audience probably might be listening less. The other thing, if you're the way you use your hands, if you just keep them slightly on the dais, probably that might be an easier way. Sometimes if you clench your hands or you move it around too much, that can people be a distractor. Instead of looking at your face, people start looking elsewhere. And the other important way is to when you're giving a presentation, sort of try to focus at one person or two person, one on this side and one on the other side, and just look at him and speak, and people will think you're focusing at one thing. Because when I see my videos, sometimes I'm doing it too much. People tend to think, does he have an nystagmus? So even I think of my videos. So then you learn that just stay at one point, after a while, then move around slowly, then stay there for a while, and then move around. So that is one thing which sort of when people see it, people don't notice what's happening inside and how you're talking to them. But think like if you feel somebody's there and listening to you very properly and listening, just keep looking at that person and just talk to him less. If you're giving a talk to him and then move on to another person, you can identify 4 or 5 people and do it that way. If you're too nervous, sometimes people look straight ahead at the wall and try not to look at people, because sometimes your friends might be sitting and they make you smile or distract you.
Sir, I have a question that if just like I have taken the opportunity to talk 2 minutes, and can I move from the dais without your permission, or how it will impact the audience? If I will take the opportunity of 2 minutes and I will move around the talk just to make boost confidence that so that I will engage the audience and the will go.
Then if there's a stationary microphone and you're moving, then people won't be able to hear you. The other thing that people make the mistake, if it's like this at the podium, they'll look at their slides and the mic is here, and they'll talk like this, and they'll look at their slide, and then they'll come back here and they'll talk, and their voice will go up and down, up and down. So you gotta, if there's a stationary mic, you want to position yourself on the other side of the mic so you can see your slides and see the audience, and so you're not, doing this and the mic's. I always prefer a handheld mic or a lavalier mic, because then you don't have to worry about where you are in relation to where the mic is. So if there's an option of handheld or an option of a lavalier that attaches to your tie, I much prefer that, because I don't have to worry about that kind of a thing.
Shut up.
What you are saying to the audience, it should be more attractive, because you are saying will attract, the people will listen to you, and otherwise what you are saying, if that is not attractive, people will not looking at you, rather they'll be just looking at their mobile and so on. So that is also very important.
Sometimes it's changing your voice. You come and say good morning, and then you start off with this, I'm doing this, and then you can go up and down. So that Carl is very good at that. You are my role model on that.
I think also it goes with the style that you have as a speaker. There are certain speakers who feel trapped when they are standing behind the slide, and then they feel a little mobility gives them a lot of confidence. And so it's really you should know your style of speaking.
You just don't want to walk around too much, but walk back and forth and pacing, and then they're going to be watching you walking back and forth instead of whatever you're trying to make. So a little bit of movement is fine. as long as you got the mic and it makes sense for the audience. Yeah. Yeah, I like to move around as long as you got the mic and it's not something, you know, over there that people can't hear you. Yeah, and it won't. I mean, I don't think it wouldn't be a bad thing. Keep in mind that sometimes they're recording you, and if you and their camera is set for the podium, so you might ask in advance, "Are you recording this?" Because then they don't want you to go walk around because they can't follow you if it's a stationary camera. So just make sure they're not recording it, and then I don't think it's a big problem. Even if everybody else is standing there rigidly behind the podium, I think it's okay to move around as long as you've got a mic, a portable mic. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we do a lot of workshops where there's, you know, groups and tables and I walk all through them and, you know, I have my mic and I ask people questions and that kind of a thing. So.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Faisal Rashid and I am working as senior optometrist in Services Hospital Lahore. I have done my master's in philosophy from King Edward Medical University, and I have recently done my fellowship in American Academy of Optometry from USA. I have also done my certificate in medical teaching from King Edward Medical University, and I'm enrolled in the leadership development program. My passion is to excel in the field of optometry, as it is the newly recognized field in Pakistan. I want to become a role model myself, so that the young optometrists should have a role model which they can look into and follow the steps of the people, that there is something good in the field of optometry in Pakistan.
Sometimes when you see big leaders are coming in, and if you're giving a big talk, sometimes they start giving more pauses in between. I'm not saying he needed to give a pause, but sometimes in order to give more emphasis, if I say this is very important, it totally changes the scenario. So that is something I'm just giving you a tool that this is how you can, because we used to have a Professor Mahmood Ali Malik. He used to do that very nicely. So that is something. Next, who's going to come in next?
Assalamu alaikum. I am Dr. Memna Mohsin from Benazir Bhutto Hospital, Rawalpindi. I just want to add two things in work-life balance. Number one is emotional stability. Emotional stability means your emotions shouldn't drive you. You should drive your emotions. Nowadays, children are lacking emotional stability. They show tantrums. Most of the house officers are always angry. Ma'am, I'm very much stuffed with my home things. Ma'am, I'm very much sick. I cannot work. If you are in that state of health, you cannot work with a good outcome. You should be emotionally stable. Number two, organize your task. You can organize your task in three categories. Number one is urgent and important. Number two category is urgent but not important. Number three is not urgent, not important. If you organize your task, then you will have a better outcome. Thank you very much.
Sometimes when I speak, I think the mic is too low all the time. It was the voice for you to try to see that your face is well clear of the mic, so people can see your face and your mic is below you. Right? So that is one thing sometimes you can get.
माय नेम इज़ लतीफ़ साजद फ्रॉम साहिवाल। मोइन सर, मैं कुछ अपने एक्सपीरियंस जो है ना अपनी लैंग्वेज में करेंगे कि राजा मुमताज़ साहब की भी याद ताज़ा हो जाए। हमारा 2006 में ओएसपी साहिवाल को जब एस्टेब्लिश कर रहे थे तो कुछ लोग ज़रूरत नहीं महसूस कर रहे थे मीटिंग्स की। मेरी ट्रेनिंग की थी डॉक्टर तारिक सईद साहब, जो विट्रो सर्जन अमेरिका से अपने आए थे और जिन्होंने LRBT को एस्टेब्लिश किया था। तो उन्होंने कहा कि अपने कोलीग्स को मिलें और जो नॉलेज है इसको स्प्रेड करें। तो पर्सन टू पर्सन मिले, फिर था कि एक ऐसा फोरम हो। तो लोग ये समझ रहे थे कि हमें सब कुछ आता है। तो हमने एक टॉपिक मैंने चॉइस किया कि पेशेंट्स कम टू आवर क्लिनिक्स विद द कंप्लेंट ऑफ हेडेक, हाउ कैन वी हेल्प देम। तो इस पे सब लोग तैयारी करके आए। तो ज़रूरत महसूस की गई कि वाकई लोग आते हैं हमारे साथ, उनके सर दर्द होता है, हेडेक होता है, तो हम कैसे हेल्प करें। तो वो एक ज़रिया बना। उसके बाद था कि हमने एक मीटिंग रेगुलर की जाए। तो 2008 में हमारी जो सोसाइटी जो है रिकग्नाइज्ड हो गई। उसमें लाहौर अफथलमों का बहुत रोल था। उसमें एक चीज़ थी कि लीडर्स जो है, आज सब बातें सुनी हैं, दो बातें जो है ना कम थी कि लीडरशिप में लीडर जो होगा उसको अकोमोडेटिव पर्सनैलिटी होनी चाहिए और ऑब्जर्वेबल होना चाहिए कि ऑब्जर्व करे अपनी बातों को दूसरे लोगों के। और एक है कि नबी पाक सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की एक सीरत में से मुझे पता चला कि जब आप किसी से मुतवज्जे आप सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम होते थे तो अपना चेहरा और अपनी छाती मुबारक उसकी तरफ करते थे ताकि वो समझे कि मुझे रिस्पेक्ट दी जा रही है। तो ये चीज़ें कुछ हमें जहाँ लीडरशिप में औरों से क्वालिटीज़ हैं तो सीरत में से बहुत सारी चीज़ें मिलेंगी। और जो आपसे कोई कन्फ्लिक्ट कोई अराइज होता है जिसके मुतल्लिक है, आप उसको सेपरेट बुला के उसकी बात सुने। जब आप उसकी बात सुन लेंगे तो शायद दोबारा कोई मीटिंग की ज़रूरत नहीं होगी। वो रियलाइज़ कर लेगा कि मेरा मौक़िफ़ सुन लिया गया और शायद वो गलत था, तो उसी मीटिंग में पर्सनली आप सॉल्व कर देंगे। नहीं तो जिससे मुतल्लिका होगा आप उसको भी किसी अच्छी फॉर्म पे बुला के समझा देंगे, तो वो कन्फ्लिक्ट क्रिएट नहीं होगा। तो बहुत सारे ऐसे थे जो मेरे सामने पेश हुए, अभी पिछले दिनों हुआ कि फ़लाँ कोई है तो उसकी बात सुनने से ये हो गया। तो हमारे जो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह ओएसपी के प्लेटफार्म से जैसे साहिवाल के अंदर फिर एक नॉलेज क्रिएट हुआ, अपने मतलब एक्टिविटीज़ हुई। अब लाहौर से भी लोग आते हैं और जगह पे भी। फिर साहिवाल का एक रोल इन सबको पता है कि जब एक हायर लेवल पे नेशनल लेवल पे आया तो हमने कंट्रीब्यूट किया था। तो इस तरह की जो एक्टिविटीज़ है लीडरशिप की, ये आज मेरा फर्स्ट एक इसमें विज़िट है, तो मैंने बहुत कुछ गेन किया है। और ये चीज़ें जो हम सीखने की हैं तो हम अपनी सीरत के हवाले से भी और अपने बड़ों की जो है उनको भी अपनाया जाए। तो मेरा एक ये था।
I think we'll finish at this level. Our next leader is here, Professor Mia Shafiq. He's reminding us that we are 7 minutes late for our next session. So he's going to, I'll invite him. I think who's the moderator? He's the moderator himself. I'd like to invite him to please sit at the center stage and start his the proceedings. Daud Saab, is he? Ziaul Islam Saab, he can be the chairman. Sir is the desk that you can place. नहीं वो आपके पास So we'll start formally the third part of the leadership program, and I'll ask Professor Mia Shafiq. He's been the ex-president of the OSP Lahore, and he's going to talk about managing meetings effectively.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. I'm sorry because of the delayed session we have to start the next one immediately, otherwise there would have been a little gap in between. Talk given to me is managing meetings effectively. You know, whenever we call a meeting or the people get together, they aim at some certain thing to achieve or reach and act. So, in keeping this in mind, I say that this session will include small information about the personality types and the communication styles in colors, and a few characteristics of the negative meetings and what makes a meeting good. And in the light of that information, we will then discuss the steps for planning, conducting, and follow-up of the meetings before the meeting, during, and after the meetings. So before we really jump onto the words, I would like to listen to this audio visual.
The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed.
These words which you heard are actually the words said by Carl Jung, who was a psychoanalyst, Swiss psychoanalyst, very famous one. And he has a lot of quotations. We are really very good for personality analysis and other things. He said that the meeting of the two personality is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. The objective of the meeting is to bring some change in the others. Main objective is the same. And in others we sit together to plan for to bring changes in far away peoples, whosoever are our targets. So keeping in mind that no two persons are 100% alike, everybody has different aptitudes, different thinkings, different behaviors, different feelings, and everyone has his own style of talking and expressing. So he actually divided the four peoples in four personalities. The first one, which is cool blue, is actually the group of the people who are cautious and precise, remain more formal. The second group is earth green, who are caring, patient, and relaxed. The third group is sunshine yellow. These people are social, more social, dynamic, and enthusiastic. The last group is labeled as fiery red, who are very, very sharp, competitive, determined, demanding, strong-willed, purposeful. So, keeping in this mind that in meetings we may come across a galaxy of the people out of these four personalities. We should keep things in mind that how to deal with each and every personality. जी उन्हीं की सीरीज में से हो सकती है. वैसे तो number of personalities shown by him are almost double in number, लेकिन ये हैं जो clear cut defined है चार.
मैं इसका बीच में कुछ ऐड कर दूं.
हाँ जी.
इसमें यह कि everybody has got a mixture of all there is one dominant which you need to identify, and these is you can use it to your strength, or situational you can change accordingly. If you want to get things done, you can change into a fiery red. If you want to socialize, you can go on to a yellow personality. If you are earth green, usually with kids you are fiery red. Get things done. Otherwise,
but you have to be.
Otherwise, they'll be all the time on your tablet and doing everything.
Actually, the total number of personalities are much more. Total number of personalities are much more than these four, but these are the well circumscribed four regions जो overlap से multiple
वो
personalities.
थोड़ी देर के लिए आप उन्हें ग्रीन के लिए छोड़ देते हैं, फिर आप रेड में आते हैं,
हाँ,
फिर ग्रीन पे छोड़ देते हैं. दैट इज द वे, वेव्स में चलते हैं.
So keeping in mind these four personalities, the actions has to be alike कि आपने किसके लिए किस तरीके से behave करना है. Especially आप beginning से ही आप इस हिसाब से सोचते हैं. Through the meeting you think on this aspect, and after the meeting even you think on this and act accordingly. So what actually makes a meeting bad is there are certain characteristics which we came out of a survey of 635 executives in Bradford. They brought up for 7 characteristics which actually make a meeting bad. The top of the list is the drifting of the subject. Second is poor preparation. Then next is questionable effectiveness, the lack of the listening, and verbosity of participants, length. If meeting becomes too long, it may become ineffective. Then the lack of participation of any of the participants. And what actually makes the meeting effective and successful is similarly found out to be through another survey which was conducted in Pittsburgh in 1993, and the character found out were again similarly aligned with reference to percentage of the survey. The most important characteristic is the effective meeting allow all attendees to participate. The second one is define a meeting's purpose. 3, address each item on the agenda. 4, assign follow-up actions, record discussions, invite only essential personnel, and write an agenda with time frame. So keeping in mind these characteristics of effective meeting, we will now move on to steps for planning, conducting, and follow-up meetings. In 3 headings: before the meeting, within the in the meeting, during the meeting, and after the meeting. What we should do before the meeting. It's a list. Again, I'm read for you. Make sure the meeting is necessary. Unnecessary meetings will not bring the fruit and will be useless wastage of the time. Identify and clarify the meeting's objective and process. Involve the right people. People who are really meant to give some benefit. Provide an agenda in advance. Sound out key participants and prepare for discussion and decisions. Involve the right people. Try to include people who are have a final decision maker, who have the power to block or decide things, who are involved with the issues of the affected outcome, can give relevant input, have a commitment to issues, will have to implement the decision, and can represent all stakeholders. And the agenda, create it on the basis of what are the desired outcomes, what should be the roles of the participants, and what are the items to be discussed, and personal responsibilities. Agenda creation should include the time allocation as well. Generally, it is said that 30 minutes are enough to cover one topic, and 2 hours to cover 5 subtopics. The agenda should be appropriate, addressing to whom you are sending it, should go in the form of a letter with the time and place mentioned on it, and all agenda items, and list it. Then it's always good that before the meeting, check the meeting preparation checklist so that you are sure that you are not missing any appropriate thing which is in your target. And again, I have brought this slide to indicate that preparing the agenda, if there are certain special personalities reference to these 4, you address them in the relevant fashion. Now, what to do during the meeting? Before I go for the steps, remember 3 V's: visual, verbal, vocal. Each has its own importance. Albert Mehrabian was a psychologist working in America, primarily from Iran. He's a professor for emeritus in University of California. He, in his study, proved that the importance of the word is not that level as is the importance of the tone of the voice or the body language, or as you are seeing here. The word alone may be nothing, but if you choose appropriate words, these could be quite expressive. Example shown in this case. In 1997, KFC went to China with theme finger licking good. And what does it mean? That lick your fingers off. And this only 4-word statement shows how expressive or how good are the items sold by the KFC. So just choice of the words could make the difference. And next is what 4 things you must not miss during the meeting. Number 1 is state the meeting's purpose and objectives. 2, let everyone have say. 3, gain closure on each item. And the last but not least is end the meeting with an action and communication plan. Telling the objective in the beginning is essential because it will keep you around the topic always. Otherwise, there are more chances of slippage away, and you may waste the time. Let everyone have say. Monitor yourself. You should not be wasting time yourself, and always be positive and encourage about the things. Intervene if the participant criticizes or attacks others. Record input on the flip chart, control interruptions, and make it possible for quieter people to contribute. It's always better that we usually when we are in the class, many of us are in the habit of moving around. It's not bad if it is some sort of workshop, the moderator can move around and go to each and every one close to him and encourage him to participate. Ask people what they think, call on those who are not contributing, break group into pairs of choice and have each group report back. Many times we make small groups, subgroups, and give them a small task to all, common to all, and then we ask one of those 3 to come on the dais and present their consensus. Do not rush to vote or make a decision. Active listening is very important. Pay attention, show you are listening, provide feedback, and respond appropriately. And this listening could be graded into 5 categories, 5 levels, and at least try to remain within the top 2. These 2. At least you should show that you are attentive, if not empathetic. But try to be there like this. But very important is to close this topic. You must make some decision for each topic and subtopic, and there could be several ways of gaining the agreement. The first one, which is best one, is the group consensus. If it cannot be done, we can go for voting, and if that is still not possible, the leader has the power to decide, and that should be then conveyed to all, and all should get that message at the end. This is very important. The last thing during the meeting is to action and communication plan. If you have not done this, believe me, the meeting is useless. An action and communication plan should have 3 elements: what, who, and when. What has to be done, and who will be responsible for that, and how much time will be given to him to complete that task. This should be really the end of the meeting, by assigning plans and actions to the relevant peoples. provide closure and sense of the accomplishment. It's very important that ensure all heard the same. When you close, it's sure when we choose our president or we choose our somebody by election, he or she is a candidate during the election. But once he is elected, he is the president of all. The same should be the behavior here. When you decide some action, even if the 100% people did not agree, but that should remain the action for all at the end of the meeting. As also send the plan to the people who are not, you have not attended the meeting, so that they get information about that. What we should do after the meeting, which is even more important, follow up quickly with a memo. Post-meeting analysis should be made. Meet informally with those who weren't heard or who were dissatisfied, and provide promised resources. Act on your decision. And in follow-up, the minutes or the memorandum must contain the whole detail and steps what has been discussed, including the name, the list of attendees, the objectives, the topics discussed, and the plan decided, and the duties divided are given. And thank you all who have attended. The minutes should be in a formulated form, signed by someone who has sent it, taking the responsibility that this was really done. I am witness to. Again, this wheel to keep in mind when you send the minutes, if there is anything special to be done with special group of peoples. Please share what works. At the end, during analysis, one should see what works and what did not work. So please share tables with and things you've done. Ensure you're a great meeting. What things you have done or experienced or derailed. What you will be running in future meetings. So if you have faced some problems, bring out those and discuss with some seniors to find out the solutions. So in summary, a meeting cannot be effective unless you take steps before the meeting, within the meeting, and after the meeting. Thank you so much for your kind invitation.
सर एक क्वेश्चन था छोटा सा, दो थे बल्कि। एक तो आपने कहा कि आपने लीडर ने एंड में थैंक यू एंड में डिसीजन ले लेना है अगर हमारा कंसेंसस नहीं होता। तो ये छोटी छोटी बातें, ये प्रॉब्लम आती है कि वीटो पावर किसी को पसंद नहीं होता कि यूएस का है या इसका है। तो ऐसा कैसे किया जाए कि वीटो पावर भी ना हो और पूरे ग्रुप से कैसे किया जाए, निकाला वही डिसीजन जाए जो हम सब ने कंसेंसस हो सिवाय एक की। दूसरा सा क्वेश्चन भी शायद मिलता जुलता है कि हमारे यहाँ भी होता है और मेरे ख्याल में गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर में भी होता होगा। आई एम वर्किंग इन अ टर्शरी हॉस्पिटल इन कराची, यू नो। तो कभी कभार ये होता है कि जो आपकी टीम बनती है, इसका एक टास्क होता है, उसमें बाकी सारे मेंबर्स तो आपके हिसाब से हैं, एक मेंबर आ जाता है जो ऊपर से होता है इम्प्लांटेड, वो राइट पीपल नहीं होता। हाउ टू मेक हिम और हर राइट, ये आपने कहा था ना, राइट पीपल नहीं।
Your first question was that if the leader has to use the veto power, how to convince others who are sitting in the meeting before you give your verdict. Actually, it's the duty of the leader to prepare himself thoroughly before he calls some meeting on agenda. He should try to know each and every bit and depth of all aspects, and he himself should have something in his mind what he actually wants to do. But if he feels that I have not been able to create consensus and the majority is not with him, but according to him, because of his experience and his widespread relations, he knows that what I am thinking of is better, he should then at the end come up and give whole detail and analysis of what is in his mind. And I'm sure by the way he explains things, people come to his point and then they get satisfied. I think this could be one thing. The other question was how to make a person who is not actually concerned right. It's again you're dealing with him, give him time to speak, but do not give him extra time to speak. You can make him quieter very politely by saying, thank you, I have listened to you, I have taken your point, but let the other people also come up with your points. And that way he actually aim of the leader, the duty of the leader or moderator is to give everyone the chance to contribute. And by doing this, his effect may then become a little nullified. Sir, you want to say anything extra on it?
Because usually when you're making a committee or something, I usually make it an odd number so that the decision can be made. So there's a voting power. If you vote, there's an odd number, 5, 7, 9. You don't make even numbers. Otherwise, you'll get stuck. So you make an odd number. Then if somebody's implanted, obviously, if you vote them out, they can't do anything. But they are good that the person can give you input on something that he's an external person. So he can give you an input into external factors which you do not know or which you are not aware of, that can help you in making a good decision. So that is the second thing. The third thing is, if you want to have a thing sort of implemented, and if you think that is the right thing, you can create lobbying before you go for the meeting. So you meet those people and you talk with them and sort of clear out the concept so that at the meeting you're not doing that. So it's already done and it passes through easily at that time.
More.
Yes.
One thing more is that we see nowadays, when you conclude your meeting, that when the minutes comes, people object. So I think you should have video recording of the meeting. And that is very important, because sometimes when the minutes comes, the things have not been discussed or they're not decided, and they come in the minutes.
And we are doing it in our central council.
Yeah, so I think that is also very important.
Yeah.
I think from the leadership standpoint, when you have people who may not agree, the most important thing is to make sure they understand the why. Why is this? Make sure they understand the why. And if you can present the why well up front, then you probably won't have as many people who disagree.
That's a very good way. But if for nothing he is resisting, the question why can ban him.
Sometimes the external person who is sitting there is actually playing a vital role, and he could be linked for your stance and the decision that they want to relate to you. So your attitude should be to create to make the decision in the meeting in consultation, and then use that person as a linkage and keep him on your side for developing support systems, like for the Department of Health, maybe. And then once he is convinced, he could be on your side.
So he could be on side and could be helpful as well. Yes.
Against you, and you think, is it by preparation and lobby, making another lobby? If you think your idea is right and what you're doing is the good thing, but with voting, there are people that just want to say no for anything, and they lobby better than the other people who are busy.
It's many times a situation when you know that a group of peoples have already decided to say veto to whatever you say. So I think, in my opinion, I may not be right, but in my opinion, if in that particular meeting we feel that that lobby is becoming stronger and not reaching any, not helping actually, and they are putting hindrance to your plans, which are actually the right plans, you can somehow prolong the meeting by saying that the next points are the further discussion will be conducted in another meeting after so many days, and meantime you can make lobbying with singly and break few of their flirts. And so this could be sometime if there is such an hindrance and face-to-face situation, the meetings are prolonged and given breaks, tea breaks, and during the tea break you get chance to take one, two, or three of them to change their minds. But it's really very difficult situation, what you have posed to.
Sir, actually, it's basically your leadership skills which is required in this condition.
Of course.
Because your peace of mind should be more important to you at the end of the day. And you cannot fight any lobby every time. So it's not always a win-win strategy which you should play as a leader. So it's better to stop at that time, and then you can wait for a good time. And every time it comes, it's not like this that it is the end of the day.
I meant that. What I said was postpone that meeting. It is not actually the postponement. Actually, you are extending it for another session, other sessions. Okay, for the next presentation.
Call.
Okay. Call. He will speak on international networking. Please.
Okay, and just bear with my voice. I have a little laryngitis, so I think I can't overemphasize the importance of international networking. If that's something you're interested in, being in the ophthalmology international sort of scene. So my objectives are to describe what is the network, and then list some methods of interacting. So the network, the way I look at it are all these various societies. But it starts really, I think, even the international networking can start with local societies, city or state, and certainly national societies. So 20 years ago, we started a meeting in the United States called Educating the Educators. And I gave a short presentation at a meeting in the US. And the president of the International Council of Ophthalmology happened to be in the audience. And after the presentation, he came up to me and said, "Oh, we would love to do this internationally. Would you like to run this?" And I said, "Definitely." And that was a national meeting that led to, I can't even tell you how many international meetings that sprung up from that. There are many supranational societies. So, of course, the Asia Pacific Academy of Ophthalmology, which you would all potentially be members of. There's the Afro-Asian Council, which is a supranational society with this meeting right here. So right at this meeting, there are plenty of opportunities to network with, I think, people from 35 countries is what I'm told. There are many international subspecialty societies. So depending on your interests, get involved with those subspecialty societies. And then there are international organizations that are individuals. A new organization called the Ophthalmology Foundation and the International Council of Ophthalmology, the ICO. And I just wanted to say just a quick word about the Ophthalmology Foundation. You can see my slides logo at the top. I'm the director for education for the Ophthalmology Foundation. This is a relatively new group that started in 2020. This is a list of the board of directors. Some of you may know some of these people on the list. And there we go. The mission of the Ophthalmology Foundation is to support ophthalmic education internationally in order to improve global eye care and advance scientific ophthalmology. There are two main initiatives. One is subspecialty fellowships. Most of these are short, 3-month fellowships, but they're about 85 per year. And you can apply for these as quote unquote young ophthalmologists, which is usually preference is given to ophthalmologists age 40 or younger. But there are also 6 and 12-month fellowships available. The second initiative, the one that I'm in charge of, is maximizing the training ability of ophthalmic educators. And this is something that you're all welcome to take part in, called the online series Teaching Skills for Ophthalmic Educators. These are modules that were started on a monthly basis in July of 2021. There's been a module every month since, so there are now 18 modules, and they consist of usually 3 short recorded lectures from international experts that are available at the beginning of the month. There's a little bit of homework, and then at the end of the month, we have a live webinar to discuss the questions and answer questions from the participants, go over the homework. It's free. You can get continuing medical education credits if you need them, 3 hours per module for free from my university, the University of Cincinnati. These are the types of topics. I won't read these, but they're all about improving the educational abilities of teaching ophthalmologists. So in the US, one of our mandates is that we have to show that we are teaching our teachers how to be better teachers. And all you have to do is say, we got this free thing, one module a month, and you can take any, they're not sequential. You can take any one of them as a freestanding module. So what about the networking part? That's the network. Get involved. You have to join the societies, the national, the local societies. Participate in committees. There are young ophthalmologist groups now in most large national societies and in international societies. So if you're a young ophthalmologist, get involved. Express your interests. I can't tell you how many times I've come up to people at meetings and said, I'd really like to speak at your meeting. And I get invited to speak at their meeting. But if I don't say that, they don't know. If you want to be involved in your local society or national, talk to the leadership. I'm interested in being on that committee on curriculum development or whatever the committee is. All of these societies have multiple committees that are run by volunteers. Volunteer. And I tell you, all of these societies are looking for young ophthalmologists because we know as old ophthalmologists, we're not going to be around forever. So we need young, enthusiastic people. So get your name out there. Say hello to people. Introduce yourself. Smile. Be positive. We want older people. We want to think you're interested in what we're doing. Find people with like interests. There are no bad questions. I love it when people come and ask me about how can I get involved with this or how can I get involved with that? And I try to help them. So seek mentors in areas that you're involved with. If you're involved with research in an area and you hear a presentation, go up to the speaker afterwards and say, I'm doing something like, you never know what's going to happen. You never know. You might end up collaborating. You might end up spending time in their research lab or at their institution. Find individuals with like-minded interests at the meetings. Don't wait in the corner. I think that was a big mistake I made. I thought, I'm just going to go to the meetings. I'm not going to really network and talk. You really got to get out there, introduce yourself, say hello, and you'll be surprised, I think, at how receptive, older ophthalmologists are to try to get you involved with things. And if you do make acquaintances at meetings, try to continue those, build the relationships. If you get someone's card and you're interested in, email them, let them know, hey, remember we met at the meeting yesterday. How could we get involved together? Or what can you do to help me? I'm a young ophthalmologist. Older ophthalmologists often like to help young ophthalmologists. So follow up on new contacts. Use social media. I can't tell you all about doing that because I am not an expert on social media at all. But these days, social media can be very helpful. And I learned things from young ophthalmologists about how to use social media. So in summary, for international networking, get involved. Never say no. If someone asks you to do this or that, don't say no. Now, that can get you in trouble eventually. But young in your career, when you're starting out, never say no. And follow through. I think that's one of the most important things. If you say you're going to do something, do it. There are plenty of people who talk a good game and want to do various things, and they just don't follow through. So follow through, and it will serve you well in your international endeavors. Thank you for your attention. And I'd be happy to answer if there are any questions or comments, I'd be happy to answer them. I know we're short on time, so. How?
I want to say no.
Yes.
Okay. To have my balance in life, sometimes you have to say no.
Yes.
And it's a good opportunity, and sometimes it's not so good opportunity.
Yeah.
How to handle that?
Yeah. So the question is about, well, how sometimes you might have to say no. And certainly I definitely have to say no sometimes. I just, I'm too busy. I can't travel every week and so on. So I think when I say no, and I just said no recently to an invitation to a meeting, and I said, listen, I'm honored to be considered to speak at your meeting, but I've got too many other commitments right around that meeting. Could I take a rain check, which means, could you keep me in mind for next year's meeting? Because I'd love to come. It's an honor. Thank you so much for inviting me. So that's one way to do it. I think that if you have to say no, for whatever it is, I would say, thank you so much for asking me. I'm really interested, but I just can't do it now. So whatever it is, could you consider me next time this comes up? And even follow up with an email or something if you have the contact information that, again, thank you for the invitation. I'm really interested, but I just can't do it at the moment.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kolnik. I now request Professor Hamad Mahmood Bhatt, please come and take your topic on advocacy.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am honored to be here, and then thank you to Moin for one of the tasks. So I'm going to here to speak on advocacy. On my gesture, you can move on to the next line, please. Is it working now?
Yes, it's working.
Okay. So what is advocacy? Advocacy basically can you're speaking on somebody else's behalf. So those who cannot fight or present their case, you are going to present their case. And not only you're going to present their case, you're going to be lobbying for them and to make a change in the circumstances in which they are at a disadvantage as compared to this society. So you are doing a job. So the campaign everything has a cyclical process. So the campaign that you run for the advocacy is a 5-step cycle. First, what do you want to change? You identify the best possible strategy. You devise an action plan. You implement the action plan, and you monitor and evaluate the progress. And then you manage and coordinate the whole process. So if I take it from your, like a pie diagram, so the mnemonic would be planning, implementation, and evaluation. That is how can you can summarize the 5 steps. Oh, I think you better do it for me because this is tricky.
स्लाइड चेंजर है उसको आप उसमें जो राइट साइड है ना उसको प्रेस करें.
Yes. So what do you want to change? You want to change the institution policy or practice, or you want to change the knowledge, skill, and attitudes and behaviors of the people? The pathway to knowing what you want to change, the first and foremost is to identify the problem. Analyze the problem, agree your policy position, select and agree your aims and objectives. For example, the issues which need advocacy would be rising prevalence of cataract, school-age children not receiving treatment for refractive error, or people with visual impairment unable to access eye care services. So first you analyze the issue in a stepwise manner. How does the problem affect the people? What are the causes? What are all the changes that need to take place to resolve the problem? ensure your arguments are credible, identify the best solutions. Research is the key, because without data, which as Carl Golnick was saying, you have to have local things first. When you are asking for help from national, international forums, NGOs, resources are important for bringing the change. You cannot bring change per se without resources. So in order to go for the resources and in order to cash in the resources, you need data. So that can be quantitative data or it can be qualitative data. I think we are right here. I would like to commend the National Committee on Eye Health. I must mention that because they did 3 surveys, national surveys, to identify the causes of blindness. And then deriving it from the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations and then bringing down to the local level and then the governance and the service delivery levels. That is how it was done. But first you need data. Without data, no government would allow you resources. So the tools for that can be problem and solution trees, force field analysis, fishbone analysis. I think force field analysis is something like a SWOT analysis, where you actually look at the situation and look at the factors which need to be changed. So once you have identified and analyzed the problem, write a position statement. Ensure the right message gets across. Agree your policy position. Select and agree your aims and objectives. And all of us know you should have SMART objectives. So those who have done their medical education, can they come up with the mnemonic SMART? So what does S stand for? Okay. What does M? A and R and T? Excellent. So we are a very literate audience for SMART. So SMART audience. So we should know what the target audience is. Like for the LDP program, the target audience is sitting in front of us. Influencing objectives and the key messages that you will use to influence them. You have to understand the process of change. You assess capacity to influence change, analyze social and political context, select target audience and influencing objectives, and develop key messages and arguments. Let's take them one by one. Whatever you need to do, you have to have institutional backup for that. That is very important. Like whatever we decide in the LDP program, there has to be an umbrella organization in terms of the Ophthalmological Society of Pakistan. So that is the organizational setup that we are talking about. If you're talking of providing resources for prevention of blindness, you're talking to the Ministry of Health and the Minister of Health. So you should know where the policy is being made, where the resource allocation is being made, and that is where you present your data for appropriate action to bring the change. So the capacity involves resources which can be financial, information, human, knowledge and skills. And the useful tools are the advocacy capability model, sources of power, and SWOT analysis. The ICO actually designed a human resource allocation model in terms of said कि सिर्फ आपको eye specialist नहीं चाहिए. You need allied health personnel, you need ophthalmic nurses, and you need these to work as a team. The allied health professional, the 4 tiers, have to be delivering the whole service structure. Previously, we thought that the eye care health delivery needs just resources, but now you need a competent team. Without a competent team, the change cannot come. Everything that is done for a change has a political launch pad. People, whatever excellence that you have individually has to be related at a political level first. And then it is related to the bureaucratic setup and then the financial setup. So there's a sequence to bringing the change in terms of where do you want to aim and target the change. You have to have a stakeholder analysis, influence map. You have to persuade to agree with our objective, persuade them that the issue is important so that their influence is more strongly felt. You build alliances with them, increase their influence, and at times certain unwanted influences need to be decreased. For example, the National Committee on Eye Health involved all the international NGOs, the Sight Savers International, the Christian Blind and Mission, the Standard Chartered Bank, and so they had to influence a lot of donors for the change in eye care healthcare delivery systems. We have talked a lot about the communication skills. So the rules for communication involve, communication should be clear, they should be focused, should be consistent, and with different audience should be coherent, and communication should be packaged differently for each audience. For example, once you design the healthcare workforce, you will have to have different job descriptions for each of the cadres that we have just mentioned. And then that job description is very important to relate to your healthcare workforce to bring the change. So the communications that this is your circle of duties and you cannot step out of this circle, because if you step out, you are stepping on to somebody's toes. And that is where the conflict starts. So in successful communication guidelines should be politically neutral. The tone of the voice should be gentle but convincing. Branding, as Professor Moin was saying, that you have to brand, like in the retinopathy of prevention ROP program, Professor Moin as his team, and then linkages with your Dr. Mia in University of New York in their retinopathy of prevention program, provided a clear narrative and a clear linkage plan for us to follow. So you have to then devise an action plan to follow through. You have to plan your activities. You have to have an integrated action plan and a budget. Nothing can happen without allocation of money. The National Committee on Eye Health was given close to, I think, 2 or 3 billion rupees to bring the change in the 5 years, first 5 years, then second 5 years, to do the human resource and the equipment to the districts and to the tehsils, and finalize the risk management plans, agree strategy and coordination mechanisms. Then you have to convince all the audiences. These include, you have to demonstrate the benefit to the patient, to the people affected, and to society in general. So in terms of prevention of blindness program, the incidence of blindness, the prevalence of blindness was 2% when the surveys was done. And now it has come down to 0.9%, which is a big achievement and in terms of the targets that they set themselves to achieve. Then you have to have a plan written down in terms of timelines, that where do you want to start, who are the people who are going to do the things, and then the date it is going to be completed. So who is responsible for doing what? So you can have a monthly report or a quarterly report and then summarize it as an annual report. Because that is how the budgetary allocations and achievement of the targets and indicators are matched with each other. So the overall advocacy campaign plan and coordination mechanisms are clear if you have clear aims, objectives, audiences, propositions, risks and assumptions, monitoring and evaluation plan, organizational structure and decision making, budget and action plans and timetable. And then you have to lobby. You have to have a media presence for, you can have media cells to actually project. You can have walks for that. You can have seminars in medical colleges. With newspaper, you can have health special edition sessions with the newspapers. Then to monitor and evaluate progress, you have to document what you and others are doing, monitor your audience reaction, evaluate progress against plans, and take action of steering, learning, and reporting. And then at the end, coordinating all those 5 steps through clear and effective decision making, monitoring and evaluation, resource mobilization and allocation, internal communications, representation and spokespeople, and leadership. This is the latest document that I just shared a few lines, the World Report on Vision, and it's a very humbling document. Dunia mein, I think there are 2.2 billion people. Total population kitni hogi? Roughly? World population? 7-8 billion now. So 2.2 billion, which means 2 out of 8 have a visual impairment.
Professor Ahmad, please be
Sir,
precise.
just finishing. And then 1 billion of these could be prevented. That is the challenge for advocacy, and that is where we take ourselves as a profession. So this is the logo that the World Health Organization is at the moment. Sorry. Kind of this slide, there's a mismatch between the yellow one. So it's showing something different here. Okay, so I'll just, the international, the integrated people-centered eye care model implementation requires empowering and engaging people and communities, reorienting the model of care, coordinating services within and across sectors, and creating an enabling environment. That is the challenge of advocacy, which we all have to share. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Bhatt. I now request Dr. Yasir Khan to please come and present his talk on leadership and digital innovation. Yasir Khan.
Yasir is going to come and hook. He's going to hook on his computer. Time short hai. So by the time he gets his thing done, I'll just. Yeah,
So Professor Moin can start with
Yeah,
fishbone
start.
analysis activity.
So fishbone analysis, ye kar do, ye full screen kar do. So fishbone analysis is one of the things which you do in when you're trying to find out a cause. Ye full meri taraf aa jaye. As you can see, it is something. Which country do you think that can be originated from? Something like this. At the end of session, so Dr. Karu Ishikawa, a Japanese quality control statistician, invented the fishbone diagram, because whenever something does not work, obviously it is passed on to the people that why does this happen? The manager will always come, why did that? Give me statistics. So that is actually the fishbone analysis, which can give you the primary, the secondary causes of that. It is the cause and effect. So the design of the diagram looks much like the skeleton of a fish, which I showed you before. It generates a sort of hypothesis about possible causes of the problems within a process by asking participants to list all the possible causes. So you sit down in a team, so you need to have a team effort, and you find the causes and effects of this. So when do you need to use this? Need to study a problem, want to study all the possible reasons why the process is beginning to have difficulties, need to identify the areas of data collection, and want to study why a process is not performing. So we'll go through an example of how this thing works. Is mostly used by teams. So if you do it a single person, we did a SWOT analysis, but this is a fishbone analysis, finding a cause and effect. So something has happened. Now you want to go back retrospectively and see why did this happen. So you draw a horizontal line, a central spine near the center, and you collect information from the participants on the aspects of the situation. So you see, so this is the problem. You come in with a cause, and these are the primary causes, and then you got a secondary causes. So it is important to group them into different groups like materials, methods and processes, manpower and people, machines and equipment, mother nature, which are the external environment, and what are the measurements which are being done wrong. So you set the priority. So I'll just go through this. So the advantages and disadvantages, it can show much of a situation structure. It can, however, become messy for complicated situation. So it's for a straightforward situation, it is good. And the positive and negative aspects are not being distinguished at that time. So just to clarify the different M's we have, you can use the 8 M's in manufacturing. The machine means the equipment and technology, while the method is the process through which it goes. Man and mind power, measurement is inspection, mission is ship and maintenance. In order to make this more clear, we'll just go through an example. These are the P's in production. Either what is the product price, promotion, place, process, people, performance, or you can surrounding, suppliers, system, and skills. So there are different types of on the main causes which you can list. Otherwise, you can always make your own causes. These are headings which are usually used. So let's come up with an example. So the fishbone was drawn by a journal management team trying to understand for the non-indexation of the journal. The journal used 6 generic headings. So let's see what the headings are. So they're the same which I said. So I can ask from the audience, but in the interest of time, I'll just come up with the answers to this. So you agree on the statement. First, you identify what is the problem. So we said we are not indexed in the journal. So generic heading which you used. So journal is, so you brainstorm with people. You come up with the concrete proofs. You need documents to see that this is happening or not. You need to study it completely. So let's go through each one by one. One is material. So the materials being submitted by the journals might be poorly written. The abstract are not according to standard, and they are poorly targeted. The journal might be for ophthalmology and you might have an abstract on a veterinary article. So the environment. So it is the journal mails the articles near holidays. So people obviously don't see them. So you get delays. You get, if you're sending them by mail, if you send them on a rainy day, if it's not packed in plastic, it might get in envelopes. It's using an insecure website. People are getting it if they don't want to get to other people. And then if you look at the machine, that was a printing machine which you used, was a poor online access, faded printing, and wrong printing of ads. So then you measure how the things are being done. What is the quality control? Maybe your plagiarism too high, non-specialty articles, and inconsistent length of articles. So you need to be consistent. Each and every one should be the same. That is what printing principles are. And then your methods might be incorrect. Your submission method is too complicated for people to submit. There are no acknowledges when you send them. People keep asking, what's happening to my article? The peer review is not good. Whenever it's published, it looks like it might be just an ordinary article. So it needs to be better peer review. And then the people are too busy. Your working staff is too busy. There might be too many absences, and there might be lack of absences in your organization. So this is how you say that this is a problem. You sit down, identify the problem, look at all the documents, go back, group them into different things, and then you come up with primary causes, secondary causes, and then at the end you will sort of consolidate and work them at the end. So it helps. So it helps in problem solving. You find the exact cause of the problem and you need to make corrective steps. So this is one of the tools for in leadership when you're getting stuck in situations, especially for quality improvement and quality enhancement. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Munisa.
Is it going?
It's not working.
कर दे इसका कर दे इसका It just
linked.
Yasser he just finished a leadership program on digital innovation. I didn't know about the topic, but it's interesting. So we just must have to hear what he has to say. He's from Toronto. He's an oculoplastic surgeon, and he's a very good friend of ours. And he trained from University of Cincinnati as well.
So we're all Cincinnati people here, right, Carl? Thank you. I know I'm holding back people from Juma and lunch, and it's a very honorable position to be in, I think. But I'll try and get through this as fast as possible. Okay, thank you. Okay. Thank you.
Local full payments.
Is it coming on? So basically, the world is changing. The entire world is being digitally transformed as we speak. Every single industry, from law to how we live in our homes, to medical education, to medicine, to engineering, to travel, every single area of life is being digitally transformed. And it's something that we have to face, whether we like it or not. And as leaders in medical education, in medicine, we need to know what these technologies are and what we're going to face in the very near future. Is it coming?
He's trying.
I've had issues all day with my other talks when video's not working. Do you want me to hook it there? It was working in the other room. So I mean, basically, so it's things like, artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, augmented reality, virtual reality. They're all coming, and there's a phenomenon called Moore's law. Who knows what Moore's law is, right? So the power of a computer, basically a chip, doubles twice, and it's an exponential change. And so technology operates on Moore's law, and basically it's not going to be in the next. There, it's coming, I think, but it's not. I can see it.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be now. Tomorrow. It'll be now. So basically, I'll just keep on talking. So artificial intelligence is simply the ability of a digital computer or program to complete tasks associated with intelligent beings. That's what it's called, artificial intelligence. And it's basically, it's to mimic cognitive functions of the human mind, such as learning and problem solving. And subsets of artificial learning includes machine learning and then deep learning. So basically, machine learning and deep learning are different forms of artificial intelligence. And I mean, anywhere from the Netflix shows we watch, everything is, I mean, even surfing on your phone, they're all algorithms that go into an AI program, and it tells us what to watch and gives us what we need to see. And it basically controls our life. And that's also what chatbots on websites and self-driving cars all use artificial intelligence. Should I keep on going? Wait. Okay, so trends in AI. There's supposed to be a nice chart that shows that the AI literature in ophthalmology has been growing since 1985. AI was the term was invented about 50 years ago, so it's not new. People were well ahead of the game, and basically the amount of literature in AI and ophthalmology has been exponentially increasing, and the curve goes up in an exponential manner, and that's okay. Oh, okay, there we go. Okay, so there's the exponential curve, okay? Good. So what is machine learning? So machine learning is basically a subset of artificial learning. It learns from the data. So systems can learn from data, identify patterns, and make decisions with minimal human intervention. So you basically feed them. Is that a pointer? This is a pointer, right? Yeah, it is. So you basically feed them this information, feed the data in. Oh, thank you. And machine learning basically interprets and groups that data for us, and it does the thinking for us. And basically, it completes a specific task without being programmed. And again, it's all about feeding a machine data. Now, deep learning is scary, but exciting at the same time. It's basically, it imitates the workings of the human brain in processing data and creating patterns for decision making. This is all happening now, and it will be the future within 5 years for sure. And so this is an example of, this is off. There we go. Okay, this is an example of machine learning. where there's a separation. Basically, we're processing the data for machine learning. And with deep learning, it's all integrated. It's like a neural network which simulates the brain. So augmented reality is basically, as you know, it's like using those goggles to enter a digital world. It's basically the ability for us to enter the digital world and it basically interact in a digital capacity. Okay, and it's being used currently and will be the norm in the future with clinical training and practice. So you can go to the QR code on Carl's website and be able to virtually enter a world and learn virtually. And also, right now the augmented reality goggles are very big, but they're getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Eventually, they'll be smaller than my eyeglasses. So when we put them on, they'll end. You know, Elon Musk did not buy Twitter because he did not pay $45 billion for Twitter just like that. He has a plan and he's working on implanted chips. And Twitter, it's 165 characters. It's perfect for that. So he's thinking 20 years ahead, actually 10 years ahead. And he's working on Neuralink, which is an implant. And that's all to do with augmented reality and things like that. Good. So when it comes to what's happening right now in modern day, current times, it's basically AR and clinical training. So there's a lot of modules right now where we can enter the AI world and teach our residents and ophthalmologists different surgical skills. Even with doing cataract surgery, vitreoretinal surgery in a virtual environment. So even within education, I think, there'll come a time where we'll be able to teach our students virtually without them coming into the operating room, at least in the early years of residency. And this will really be extremely useful. So this is basically a VR medical simulation of teaching. Now, this is not for ophthalmology specific. I mean, for oculoplastic, sure, it works, but it basically allows a student or a resident or a medical learner to enter the virtual world and be able to practice these procedures, whether it's intubation, whether it's cataract surgery, oculoplastic procedures, whatever. All these things are advancing. And I think within 5 years, they'll be mainstream. And you can see the learners here are virtually attached. And all the skills that are necessary, they're actually learning beforehand. So it really makes people a lot more efficient, when they enter the training world. And this is actually a few years old, so they're much ahead now. So we'll forward this again. This is another video showing, the effects of gene therapy on the retina. So the future for those who are in retina know that gene therapy is coming, right? It's already here for retinal diseases, for a lot of retinal degenerations and things like that. So this is just it's a simulator that's being used by people now to simulate the injection of gene therapy into the retina, basically, and seeing its effect. And this also uses augmented reality uses artificial intelligence, and this is all the norm now. So this is all happening around us, and it's going to be mainstream within 5 years or less. This is another example of using augmented reality and AI while performing cataract surgery. Bionics is a company that's come up with a VR microscope, so an augmented reality microscope that basically, when you're it uses AI and augmented reality to give you real-time data when doing your cataract surgery. And these are the VR goggles. And see how small they're getting? Sorry, it's supposed to be Bali. Yeah, it actually corrects you. Yeah, it actually corrects your posture, and also directs your surgery. It basically does the thinking for you. Because within the augmented reality are AI and then machine learning and then deep learning algorithms built in. So decreases complications, increases speed of learning. And this is not the only company. There's a number of other companies that are doing the exact same thing. So it even puts OCT images into your screen when doing retinal surgery. So let's skip this here. So what about the metaverse? You guys have heard of the metaverse, this universe that you can enter. The metaverse is just in its infancy. It's also going to take over. I mean, the future medical school within the metaverse is not far away. An ophthalmology residency program, at least initially, is not far away. Seeing patients in a metaverse clinic is also not far away. People are already working on this. And that's my plan in life, is to create the first metaverse clinic where I see patients in the metaverse. And basically, it's using augmented reality. You make a whole world where a patient can enter, and you enter at the same time, and you see a patient interact in the metaverse. There's an example of a urologist who's created a clinic in the metaverse. Yeah, it's a portable because I can then have you guys listen to commentary. So this is really interesting. So he made a clinic, portable mic. So he basically made a clinic in the metaverse for him to see patients there. Is it on? You on it? Can you? Hello? Good, perfect. Thank you.
So I put this virtual space in the metaverse, just playing around with what I thought.
Can you hear that?
Urology might look like. So I took some of the elements of my own clinic space, some of these paintings and pictures from Marin County that the patients seem to like. Here
So
you
that's
see
his office,
these two
basically.
chairs where people can sit
So a
down
patient's
and chat,
avatar
and chat
can
there
sit
on
in
the
this
couch.
office waiting for the doctor.
The best part of this is
And
that
all
I can
imaging is
share
loaded.
the screen on
So
my
for us,
computer,
it would be like
with the
OCT images
patient
or
in,
or visual
virtual
fields or
reality,
whatever.
so that if there's any images like the CT scan, don't worry, this is actually just stock image. This isn't actually a real patient's CT scan. We can go over together, look at it together, point out certain.
So visualize doing this for
abnormalities.
ophthalmology, which is really amenable.
The other thing is that I can also bring in videos into the virtual, do like showing what does a surgical procedure look like. Then I can just quickly find that video, put it on, and we can talk about it.
Where?
And
This is real.
basically
It's a
what I can do
urologist
is
it's a
have an
urologist
entire
in the
gallery
US
or
that
wall
created this program.
of
And I don't know why we can't do it as an
videos
ophthalmologist, as
up here
ophthalmologists and just
so that
have
I can
patients
easily access
enter the.
them, for the patient to kind of.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't
kind
know
of
whether
do
he's
some
actually,
patient
I
education.
don't know at what level or stage it is, but he
One of
basically
the
created
other
this kind of
things
yeah.
that
It might
is
be
pretty
beta
unique
stage or whatever,
is
but I
the
don't know
use
if he's
of
actually
these
building
3D
patients.
models.
I mean, that's
So this here is a 3D model of the urinary tract organs, kidneys, ureter, bladder. This is really helpful in the discussion of different disease processes such as
but the
kidney
whole point is,
stones.
for the
and talking about,
hardware to also
where
get
the kidney stone might be.
more
I can also
cheaper
create 3D
and smaller.
models of objects that I have, like this.
He's a urologist,
penis,
remember? Just
where I could
just
go over with patients and point to directly, like saying, "Oh, this is where you have a Peyronie's plaque, and this is where we would need to remove it to straighten the penis." But I think just having the ability to kind of manipulate this stuff in real time in 3D and expand it as I need to, or
So I think
move it
COVID
around,
really helped
gives
in
it a lot more flexibility,
in making
just
this more,
a 2D
as
format.
we did virtual clinics.
So that's it.
I think COVID really was a big blessing in accelerating digital transformation. Now, augmented reality can also help in aiding patients with low vision because it can change the focus of basically can remap the images into the residual visual space, which is fantastic. And Carl, as a neuro-ophthalmologist, you appreciate this, right? And I mean, AI can kind of project images and really help a patient see even, so for example, it can either completely replace the natural view with an augmented view, as you can see in B here, okay? Or it can basically overlay the augmented view on the natural view. And it can even implement danger indicators as well, as you can see here in E. There's that red, which a patient would not have seen without AI. So just fantastic, really interesting stuff that's coming up for all of us to use. Obviously we know about this AI, machine learning, and then deep learning is used in screening and diagnosis of retinal diseases, and that's happening right now. And they've even put it on smartphones, and so that's happening. And also for those, it can even AI can even determine who you should see and who you should not see based on algorithms. This is already happening now. IRL calculations. There's the Aura, which Alcon has, and other things where there's a Barrett formula. All these formulas do use AI, so this is already happening. And so basically, AI, I think, will automate the whole ophthalmic exam diagnosis and education in the future. The medical school of the future is in the metaverse is not far away. People are actually planning concepts of it already as we speak. If you look online, you'll find organizations and companies that are already are planning a virtual medical school completely, and improving disease identification and defining how we will do our surgery and our job, and even how you want to be seen on AI. So there's an app right now that takes different data and produces the best version of yourself using a complex of AI data. And so even how you want to look. So I use the app, and this is what I came up with. This is apparently the best perfect version of myself. It reduces my blemishes and everything like that. So, and this is what AI came up with. They even give me blue eyes in one of the pictures. So anyways, I mean, you can create whatever you want, and that's the future. Thank you, guys. Thanks for waiting.
Thank you very much, Yasir, for updating us about this technology. I now request, time is now running because today is Jummah and we have to go for the Jummah prayers. I now request the chair, Professor Zal Islam, to please give few comments.
Hello. I think this was an excellent session. I wouldn't take much of your time. I think we had a very important discussion, especially on meetings. And on meeting, you see, as Professor Shafiq deliberately said, so we need really timing, personal contact with the people and the environments we have to consider. Regarding the international ophthalmology, what was the topic? International
networking.
International networking. I think this is very important because nowadays we have got meeting at the local branch level, then national level, and then we have got this international. So I think this is very important that we should participate in these sort of meetings. Now regarding the advocacy, I think first of all we had to educate our ophthalmologists. Hamid Mahmood, we had to educate our ophthalmologists first that they should take this task to the people, and secondly the community, and thirdly then you can convince the government and the minister and so on, the political people. Regarding the fish-bone analysis, Professor Moeen mentioned about the articles. I would mention about something which when I was the dean and convener for FCPS examination. So we had 20 examiners. So I want to have analysis of examiners, what type of examiners they are. So so I analyzed the 3 years examination conduct of the examiner. So out of 10, with the 6 they were passed, with the 4 they were failed, and with the 5 they were floating. So I made it out that if somebody is giving 6 to everybody, he is a too lenient examiner, he is not failing anybody. And if he is just failing everybody, not passing, giving him 4 to everybody, so it means that he is such a hard examiner, he is not passing anybody. And the 5th, who was giving more 5, it means that he cannot decide among himself. He cannot decide to pass or fail. So this sort of survey, I mean, you can really, this is a sort of fishbone analysis you can have on so many projects and so on. And the last one, you see the Dr. Saab, he was telling about the artificial learning, and I think this is very important, and we have to take advantage of this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Now we close the session, and the next session will be after Jummah prayers, and you have a break of 1 hour in which you will be taking your lunch and say the Jummah prayers. Thank you so much. God bless you.